Again, thank you for being here. On opening day this legislative session, I talked about the most important job for this legislature to deal with is job creation in this state. We've had a group of senators working on this, and certainly in some consultation with House Democrats. And so today we're going to, if anything, you look at this session, we said the number one focus should be about jobs and putting Iowans back to work. Well, if anything, I'd say this session so far has been unfocused. So we're trying to put the focus back today on creating jobs in Iowa, bringing back main streets, rebuilding our community. So we have a set of proposals. This is just the first of 3 sets of proposals we're going to come out with. But with that, I'm going to stop there and let our folks that have been working on this talk about what they've come up with. So I think we start with Senator.
Start with me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You can kick me out if you want, but I think I'm going to try to start. Hi, I'm Senator Steve Sodders. My district is Hardin-Marshall counties. I co-chair the Senate Democratic Economic Growth Team, and along with Bill Dotzler, which I don't know if Bill's here or not, but so I also am the chair of the Senate Economic Growth Committee. Today is again the first of 3 sets of things that we worked on this year for proposals for jobs. If enacted into law, our small business works proposals will do several things. One, it'll lower employee health care insurance costs. It'll make it easier access for credit for small businesses and less red tape to them. In addition, we're going to have communities help them fix up the rundown business districts. The foundation of our state's economy and economic recovery must include helping out our small businesses, and that's what we're trying to do. If more small Iowa businesses are working and running, then we'll get more Iowans back to work, and that's what we're trying to do here. The problem I'm going to address today deals with the difficulty small businesses have getting credit they need to grow. I frequently go back to my district, as many of my colleagues do, and we talk to economic development folks throughout all our districts. And I was talking particularly to my Iowa Falls economic developer, and he told me one of the problems, this was last fall, he told me one of the problems, the biggest problem he has is access to capital. He has a lot of small businesses that say, hey, we've been here for a long time, we want to expand, we want to grow, but we can't get capital. So we're going to take care of that. And part of what we did was last year, we created the Save Our Small Business Fund, which is the $5 million low-interest loan fund to help these small businesses. The loans range from $2,500 to $50,000 for businesses with 35 or fewer employees. The small business credit crunch is still here. So what we're going to do is specifically we're going to allow banks, we're going to allow credit unions and extension specialists to conduct surveys and also review the business plans so that more of these small businesses have access and have this help. We're going to do several things. First, we're going to make it, for the first 6 months of the loan will be interest-free. So that's one change. We will also allow for the loan funds to be used for marketing purposes. And finally, we're also going to allow for the 25% of the loan to be used for working capital as working capital for the criteria. And there's going to be some criteria that we don't want some problems we've had in the past, so that'll all be set up. These steps will help Iowa small businesses get the capital they need to expand and create those jobs. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Senator Tom Riley. I'm a state senator from Oskaloosa. I'm the former mayor of Oskaloosa, and I'm a small business owner in Oskaloosa. I own Riley Insurance and Financial Services. I sell health insurance to small businesses, and it's been my experience when I work with small businesses, health insurance is arguably one of their biggest expenses that they have to worry about. And every year when I sit down with small business owners, it is a worry. I had a recent case. It's a very small company, just a handful of employees. They had a 39% increase in their health insurance premiums. It's not sustainable. And for this one particular business, it was not sustainable. And they no longer have health insurance. Employee health insurance premiums are a terrible burden for small businesses, particularly businesses the size of 2 to 10 employees. That has been my experiences. They're the ones that really, get hit hard on large increases. They pay 18% more than large businesses do for the same type of coverage. They just don't have the, the large number of bodies to be able to spread that risk out. So they get hit pretty hard. And healthcare costs in general, they're just going up faster than anything else. So the new Iowa Small Business Healthcare Tax Credit will target small businesses 2 to 10. It provides a refundable tax credit equal to 25% of the new federal small business healthcare tax credit, which covers up to 35% of the healthcare premiums small businesses pays for their workers. For example, if an Iowa small business spends $50,000 a year on healthcare benefits, they would receive a 35% federal tax credit worth $17,500. And from this new Iowa Small Business Healthcare Tax Credit, they would receive an additional state tax credit of 25%, or $4,375. We feel that this is a step in the right direction to helping small businesses thrive and grow in Iowa. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Riley. I'm Jeff Danielson, representing Hudson, Cedar Falls, and Waterloo in the Cedar Valley, home of the University of Northern Iowa Panthers. Go Panthers. I'm here today to, as a part of our first proposal, to propose a Blue Ribbon Commission to cut red tape in the state of Iowa. We know our lessons learned from last year's Reinvent Iowa's government for the first time in 25 years. The lessons learned from that experience was many of the best ideas come directly from Iowans themselves. And so in this case, we're going to hold town hall meetings around Iowa, a handful of meetings, where we ask small business owners, what are the burdens of regulations and the rules and the incentive programs that you work with every day relative to the state, and how can we improve those? Where can we cut those steps? Where can we make your life easier in terms of working with your local and state governments so that they can focus on what they do best, which is provide the services to their customers. We think they've been left out of this conversation for too long. We hear a lot about business, but we hear very little about small business and their needs. Many of the things we discuss involve mid to large size companies. They're the ones that get the headlines. We want to focus on Main Street small businesses, ask them where we can cut red tape to make their lives easier, and do that. Not contained here in the specifics. I spoke to the chair as we walked in. Many of you know that we have a lean office that does Kaizen events to cut the steps that it takes for government to permit, to access some of the programs. And so when we compile this report that will be given to the legislature next year, whatever priorities we've discovered, we're going to turn that over to the lean office and make that their priority for the next year so that we can very quickly turn these ideas into action. So I'm proud to be a part of this part of our small business proposal, and I think we'll take our experience from the Reinvent Iowa's Government Initiative from last year and carry this over and reduce the burdens on small business and the regulations that they face.
Thank you, Senator Danielson. Good morning. I'm State Senator Tom Hancock from Epworth. I represent Jones, Southern Delaware, and all of Dubuque County with the exception of Dubuque proper. As other senators, I travel the district extensively, and all too often in our small communities, we see the blighted buildings in our small towns are ever increasing, the derelict commercial buildings, and the empty lots. And my district is no different than many other districts in this state. I represent about 38 small communities in this district, including communities such as Dyersville, Farley, Atamosa, Manchester, Cascade, and others. Local business leaders in discussions have told me that economic development problems created by abandoned or industrial commercial buildings is a huge issue. Blighted buildings on our main streets or in our industrial parks are a drag on local, successful small businesses. These folks are old hands at doing things themselves, but these problems have been years in the making. Small town communities, governments, they don't have the resources to deal with this. So and I'm honored to be part of this collaboration, so to help our state be a partner with these small businesses and our small town Main Street. Last year we created the Community Partnership Program under Keep Iowa Beautiful. It provides grants to small towns, that is towns with populations under 5,000, to help them clean up, renovate, or remove derelict buildings. Last year, we got 143 applicants seeking a total of more than $1 million. That was only enough money to help 17 of those projects. We should do better, and we're going to try to do better. We propose providing an additional $200,000 this year. We want all Iowa cities to be able to use state dollars, leverage local and private dollars for these projects. That's why we will work to direct the Department of Economic Development to use $3 million of tax credits for brownfields and grayfields. Thank you.
All right, any questions we can take for a few moments here?
Do you have examples of some of the red tape that you've heard from people that are issues?
Go ahead.
I just go to any Chamber of Commerce meeting, you'll get an earful. You know, I think it was a local electrician. You know, just I think they had to get like 12 permits just to open their doors and spend, don't quote me, it was close to $10,000. I think there's a better way to do it. At least we need to get our arms around. It just seems cumbersome to the amount of red tape just to start a business in Iowa. I mean, a perfect example of one that we passed out in the Senate yesterday. We had, effectively, it was a tariff on insurance companies domesticating in Iowa, $10,000. Well, we eliminated that in the Senate. So imagine that on a small scale for small business owners.
And I have at least an example in my small town state center, talking to my economic development folks there. Sometimes we get out things to them for the blighted buildings or for different things, and then a month later, a state agency comes in and changes the contract. Well, now you got to do this. Now you got to do this. And all of these things, they may have done 4 other contracts with the state and 4 other projects they've done, and every one of them's different. We've got to be able to. These things should be streamlined. It should be the same. You know, business they want stability. And so do I think the people that work with us. They want some stability, and so when we look at these contracts, part of what this Red Tape Commission can do is streamline those and make sure that we're not going off 500 different ways and changing contracts between each different project.
Yeah, and in my area, and you can ask any representative or senator, the greatest percentage of our day is working with our local constituents, many of who are business owners, trying to work with state government to get through the processes that they need in order to do their work. So Far Reach Technologies, for example, in Cedar Falls, Chris Rue, which is a small technology startup, they don't have a lot of administrative staff to help work through the processes, in this case, with the Iowa Department of Economic Development. And so I had proposed a bill draft based on that gentleman's idea. Well, I discovered that there may already be a process that he can use in IDED that doesn't require a law change. And so a lot of it is getting the agencies to be responsive with small business owners who frankly don't have time to figure out all of those steps. We can be clearer about what those steps are, and it's always a healthy conversation to review your processes. If it's anything that we've learned from Lean, it's that sometimes you've got to give these agencies the time to stop and think about what they're actually requiring, and then give them the opportunity to make those changes that they know that can make their customers' lives better. And so it wouldn't take very long if you talk to a representative or senator that much of our day is dealing with how our constituents and small businesses interface with our state agencies, and we want to improve that for them. Steve's exactly right. Stability in decision making is one of the biggest factors that small businesses face when they're about to invest and about to put a deal together. They need to know they can rely on the state agency and the rules that they're being told they have to follow, or those deals fall apart and never happen, and we want to avoid that.
How does this square with the governor's plan to look at every state regulation?
Well, I think it fits with what the governor wants to do. In fact, I think the Senate and the House, we're happy to have the help along the way. It's going to take all of us. If you look at last year, there were a heck of a lot of proposals. And you can't do them all. Sometimes they're not practical. Sometimes they're too expensive. But we would love to help the governor figure out how to ease the burdens on small businesses. Keep in mind, this is specifically about small businesses. We believe the larger businesses usually have the legal staff, they usually have the financial staff, or they may even have a legislative liaison where they're already able to work through these state regulations. But we don't want small businesses to get to a point where they want to invest and make a decision to improve their communities, and they say no because of our own regulations when we could do something about that.
What's the total cost of the state budget for this plan?
For everything we've proposed in this first set, it'll be about $8.4 million. So it's really relatively modest compared to everything else we do around here. So we think it's, because it's that modest, we think we can get a lot done with what we propose today.
So it's $8.4 million for everything that you proposed today?
The 4 programs you just heard about. Now, we have other things. We're going to be doing a couple other things. As the team met, we have a few other things we're going to be rolling out, dealing with economic growth and jobs. But for what you heard today, it's 8.4.
But you're saying also that you're willing to sit down with the governor and the House Republicans to work out something that's beneficial for small business, so you might listen to some of the things that they have to say too.
Absolutely, and I actually, with staff here, very soon we're going to be meeting with, we've already met with our colleagues in the House on the Democratic side, but very soon we're going to be meeting with the economic development and growth people on the House side. We do want to sit down with them, find out where their priorities are, talk about our priorities, and see where we can all work together. So that is the plan.
You said the insurance, at least portion of this is for businesses with 2 to 10 employees. What was the magic number of what's a small business, and how did you guys come to that?
It also matched up with the federal tax credit. That was one of it. But I also, just go on the experience. When you take a look at you get upwards, 15, 20, 25 employees. The more employees you have, the more demographic you have, you're spreading the risk more. When you're down to 2 or 3 employees, that's not a lot of risk to spread out. And just the general cost of health insurance premiums, it's just a lot more when you have fewer bodies.
And how many of those size businesses do you think are in the state?
I don't have an exact number on how many that we do have on those.
Senator Riley?
Yes.
In terms of the small businesses, does it matter how that business is organized? Can it be sub-shop, or partnership, or even self-employed? Or
I don't think that matters. I think if it's I don't think that it matters, no.
Part of this is using tax credits to help small businesses. Do you feel that other tax credits need to be kind of re-examined or targeted more towards small businesses?
Well, as we were working our way through this, we do have refundable tax credits. The earned income tax credit, I think, has been effective. And I think the research and activities tax credit for large corporations, I think that's been very, very effective. Why not help out a Main Street business that's struggling to pay their health insurance? I think they deserve a little help too. We did have a process of tax credit review last year. I think we're always open to make sure that the taxpayers are getting the best bang for their buck. So yes, I think we'd be open to that.
I'd just like to quickly comment, in small communities, if you look at our state, 60% of our communities are under 5,000 population. And, the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker are no longer in these communities. And they just, larger communities such as, I'm going to use the city of Dubuque, for example. They're doing wonderful things. Their job creation, it's on and on and on. IBM, Hormel, and they're just doing a bang-up job. But small communities do not have those resources. So it's to target the small communities, and I'm a rural guy in a rural area, and again, just way too many vacant lots, too many vacant buildings, and that type of thing. So again, it's an issue where we want to partner with our small communities.
To follow up on that, the ability for a small business owner, rather than having to pay a 39% increase in their health insurance premiums, maybe we could free up some dollars that they can reinvest back into their business to expand their business.
All right, well, thank you, everyone. We're going to be working more on this. We'll be coming out with a couple more of our packages soon, and we'll let you know when we do that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.